When you think about technique tips, you're probably thinking about the classics. Heel striking, overstriding, leg lift, crossing the midline, but that's a well-trodden route and I already have a video for that. Plus, there's no such thing as bad technique, only bad or good for you. If you're not getting injured, then it's not bad. But technique is not just limited to how you run, it can be so many things. So today, I'm going to give you 8 unconventional technique tips that saved my running life. Listen, while I got you here, just before we go into the unique tips, let me ask you a favour. I almost never ask people to subscribe to the channel. It's a no hard sell policy. However, we are getting closer to 100k and I want to do something big for that. So if you get any value out of this video, then please subscribe to the channel. It would really help us get to 100k and then you would be in line for potentially winning some of the big prizes that we're going to give away when we hit 100k, hopefully soon. Alright, on with the tips.
One technique tip that will help you get the best out of your track sessions is to gauge your effort so that your first rep is the same pace and effort and speed as your last rep. So you've got to hold back at the beginning and try and maintain the same effort throughout the session. Let's see if I can do that tonight. So I'm just starting my first set of 1200 reps and I've got to gauge the pace right. It's tempting when you're feeling fresh to go out super strong and hard, but I'm going to do probably 8 reps tonight and I need to maintain the same pace and maintain good technique throughout. So I've got to gauge that in rep 1. Okay, that's rep 1 done at 4:32 pace. I've got a 2-minute recovery and then we'll go again. Halfway through my reps and all good so far. I've maintained pace and actually as I've warmed up and got into the session, I'm finding that I'm naturally pushing it. So I'm holding back a little bit to keep even, consistent split and get the most out of the session. 1 less rep to go. I've nailed it tonight. So my last couple of reps are going to be my fastest, which is the sign of a well-paced session. Boom, my work at the track is done. 8 even reps of 1200 meters. Happy with that, good pacing. Now I just got a cool down jog home.
One technique I wished I'd appreciated a bit earlier was that of having a proper warm-up routine, so I'm sharing ours with you. It's an amalgamation between what we learnt from Vlad Excel, our previous experiences, and a bit of research on top. And I know that the techniques are not flawless, I try, but that's not really the point. The point is having my body be prepared for my session. It's working through ranges of motion and allowing the body just that bit of time it needs to get ready and quieten down some of the aches and pains that we all have from time to time. During this marathon training block particularly, it has saved my skin on numerous occasions and allowed me to keep training. So just factoring in the time and space for the body at the start before a run, in the same way we do it for stretching and recovery afterwards, that's good enough for us at the moment and it seems to be working. One technique that was genuinely a game changer when it came to racing was that of how to drink when racing. Now, I know that this sounds like a given, it sounds like this is almost too obvious, but when you're in a race, I've even got clips of me doing this, when you're in a race and someone hands you a cup at the aid station, your first thought is, because that's easy to drink when you're standing still. What? Alright, I may have over-dramatized that, but the point is when you're moving fast from a receptacle like this, like a cup like this, is very difficult to drink. But watch this. Okay, I've created a funnel. Now watch how easy it is to drink. Okay? Even when I'm going up and down. Delicious water. So the simple technique of pinching a cup is going to allow you to get the water on board that you need, hydrate properly, and not get it all over your face like I did. So easy. One technique we had to get a hold of early revolved around our diet, particularly when it came to training and racing. The art of not only working out what to eat, but also when to eat it is a tricky one to nail and also very individual, but we tend to go by a few simple rules. The first is that we do nothing new on race day. However we fueled in training, we fuel on the day. And if you take New York as a great example, we took our usual breakfast ingredients with us to the athlete village and we ate it 2 hours before the race like we would in training. And that meal in itself is years of experimenting with what and when. Banana on a really long run? Usually not enough. Massive bowl of porridge? Probably too much. So the key is to play around in training so that come race day, you can keep your body happy. And that goes for training days as well. One of the techniques that I've dedicated like whole videos to, but I'm going to try and summarize in a 1-minute clip, is that of how you execute on a perfect marathon. Okay, or a good marathon, or a marathon. So I'm going to break it down into sections as I see it. In the first 0 to 10 kilometers in any marathon that I run, the technique is make sure you get the heart rate under control, stay comfortable, stick to the game plan, don't go too fast because you're gonna feel good. But then 10 to the half marathon is phase 2, and that is consolidation. Can you get something going that's just ticking over? Making sure you get to the half marathon feeling good but not having overcooked it, because everybody knows the marathon only starts after kilometer about 32 or mile 20. So then half marathon to 32 kilometers, or 11 kilometer stretch of me testing what's happening to my heart rate if I speed up a bit, what's happening with my body, how do I feel, not overly pushing it just yet because I'm just holding on, knowing that from 32 onwards is the key. And stage 4 is 32k to 40k. What have I got there? What's in the tank? Can I push? If I can, do it. If I can't, then just try and consolidate, try and not slow down. That's maintenance. With phase 5 being the last 2 kilometers, empty the tank no matter what. Sometimes doable, sometimes, like New York showed, utterly not doable. But that's the technique of how I break down my approach to the marathon into 5 phases of the race. One technique that took a while to get right, but when we did get it right, I feel like we really got it right, was the technique of how to recover properly. Let's start with this as the major realization that we made, is that we love running so much that we want to keep doing it, so we've got to find ways for us to be able to, without getting injured or in any way, stop that consistency. Actually, when I first started running, I didn't even have a good stretching routine, so that was the first thing we implemented, but then we realized we needed more. But as the training volume increased, what we realized is we're going to have to supplement our recovery with other methods, so we looked into ways that we could help ourselves. Things like massages,
foam roller,
massage guns,
physiotherapy,
cryotherapy,
ice baths,
and leg compressors. But of course, along the way on that process, you just find the things that work for you and the things that stick, and then you don't use the things that don't work for you, which kind of leads us nicely here. And I'm currently going through part of our regular recovery process, which at the moment is dry needling, physiotherapy, but also we have a good stretching routine. We make sure we foam roll, we make sure we use the massage gun, and we have the leg compressors. And it's something that we've now found works for us, so we stick with it. Regular monthly treatments happening back there. And I'm not naive enough to think that all of this works 100% of the time, all the time for everyone. But these are the things that we've found that we think work for us. And you know what? Even if they don't work for us, they're part of the process of us feeling like we're runners. So we do it and we feel good for it, right?
Yes.
One of my favourite techniques to learn was that of the negative split. And if you don't know what that is, essentially it can be done from any distance, 800 or even 400 up. And it's, can you run the second half of whichever distance you're running faster than you can run the first half? And we're not talking about walking the first half, running the second half. We're talking by a matter of seconds, and over the marathon, maybe even no more than a minute. It's a way of making sure, my saying is, you keep your powder dry, as in, you make sure that when other people have got it wrong, when other people blow up further down the line in the race, you're the one that's speeding up, or even just maintaining speed, they're the ones slowing down. And how do you achieve it? We do things like fastest last mile or fastest last kilometre on our long runs, where we try and do that last kilometre faster than any of the previous ones, because all it means is we're thinking all the way along the run, save something for later. But if you look at the splits of some of the best marathon runners in the world, you'd be surprised, but actually their second half of their marathon is usually faster than the first half, and that is a negative split.
One technique that's helped me from the beginning of my running journey was learning to hold my thumb and forefinger together when I'm running, there's something about it that just helps you to relax your shoulders. It relaxes your whole chest and really helps with your breathing. It almost feels like a mini meditation, and I do that with both arms, pinch my thumb and forefinger together, and it seems to connect everything and calm me down. It can be really helpful if you're feeling like you're struggling with your breath or your breathing, just to center and calm. And everyone I've recommended it to has loved this technique, so try it out.
Come on, you must have learned something there, and if you did learn something, then consider subscribing to the channel. It would really help us get to 100k a lot faster. And if you like the video, you're definitely also gonna like this video where I asked 10 top YouTubers for their unique running tips and then shared them with you. And I think it's another good, helpful video, so hopefully you enjoy it. Boston in 3 weeks. See you next Sunday.